All right, and yeah, I think we're live. Cool. Welcome. Happy Saturday, everybody. Just getting set up here. Welcome to the live stream. We'll be doing channel reviews, answering your YouTube questions, tutorials, Q&A, story time probably, because it's me. Let's see here. It's probably going to be my last live stream for a little while, but I don't know. Hopefully I can do more. I was hoping to do one tomorrow, but I don't think that one's going to be able to happen. Just getting up in chat here, getting the link to the live stream. Adding that. Frankie London, welcome to the party. How's my audio? Just socially sharing this here in a few places, starting off with Twitter. I'm here and first, woohoo, says Frankie London. Yes, indeed. All right, I'm going to post this to the Facebook page for Small YouTubers Boost. You can find that at facebook.com/Small YouTubers Boost. One of the many ways we try to get some tips out to people and let them know about things like this live stream. Actually, you can also hop over to our subreddit, which is Small YouTubers Boost, and post about it there as well. Create post. Let's just do a link this time. I'm just going to pull. I'm still learning Reddit myself. There we go. That pulled that nicely. And mark that as approved. JT Halo 9, welcome back to the party. I assume the all good is in reference to my audio, which is fantastic. My fine microphone is doing just fine. There's an affiliate link down below if you want to pick it up. It is on the cheaper end. I used to use a Blue Snowball. I still have it. But that's a pricier in the $50 to $100 range. The Fine's sort of in the $30 to $35 range, sometimes less. Catch a sale, might get it. Yeah, I don't want to quote too many prices because I'm not up on that. But if you're looking for a microphone, one thing that I've noticed about the Fifine actually, it's got this volume slider that takes a little bit of getting used to. Full disclosure there. That having been said, it's pretty, that volume slider is great because I find myself not needing to do noise reduction practically at all since I got this. So if I just set the slider to just the right level, that takes care of the noise for the most part. I don't have to worry about it. So that saves me an extra step. And excuse me, if you're anything like me, super busy, anything that makes your workflow more efficient is hugely important. Because then you can get other content out faster, more often, support it more effectively on social media, all sorts of good stuff. So I'm just strategically sharing this here in a small collection of Facebook groups I'm in, most notably Small YouTubers Boost, where I'm marking it as an announcement, and pinning it to the top for the duration of the broadcast. Not sure how long I'll be able to go today, but I will do what I can. Let's see. Audio is all good. Fantastic. How am I? I'm tired. I stayed up too late last night, and so I didn't sleep insufficiently to account for that. And that's before the daylight savings adventure of springing forward. So, yeah, maybe a little lower energy than usual. But we'll see. Like I said, in the past, I get a lot of energy off you guys here in chat. Being part of the conversation and all, so that's fun. So you might notice I have a tweet up here, just something I thought I'd start the show off with talking about. So we've had just because everyone's talking about it, we've touched on the virus that shall not be named. It goes by a couple of names, but it's interesting here. I saw this tweet from, I guess that was not that late. It was 6 p.m. last night, at least in the Pacific time zone, which is what I'm calibrated for. And it looks like YouTube is giving some thought to their policy about demonetizing videos on the subject of the virus that shall not be named. And that's interesting. Because, I don't know, I have mixed feelings. I think that people are dying and people are getting sick. It's disrupting businesses and it's disrupting the economy and stuff. And so part of me is of the mind that, like, yeah, okay, people shouldn't be making profit off of that, And I do see, like, after Kobe's passing, for example, there were a lot of videos about that. And so it's like, okay, some of them are tributes that are people expressing their heartfelt feelings, and there's a certain percentage guaranteed just because of human behavior that is they're after those AdSense dollars. and maybe some affiliate links and stuff. And so it's like the profiteering off of tragedy is problematic. But then where do you draw the line? CNN can run ads during commercial breaks that generate money that keeps them in business. So what about people like Philly D who talk about these things in the news? If they cover it from an informative standpoint, then that should be okay, I would think, because the monetization there is as much about supporting the structure of getting that information out there, right? Versus somebody creating some sort of clickbait thing where they just scream into the camera for 5 minutes, hoping that they'll get views and therefore money. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. So this puts me in a place where, unlike the rant that I ended the last live stream with, I don't have particularly strong feelings. I understand the challenge there. And that's just on the creator side. Then you've got on the advertiser side, if people necessarily might not want their products associated with something like that. I mean, could you imagine if your I heard the Bond film's release date got pushed back as a result of this unnamed virus. But let's say that you had a movie that you were pushing or something, and so you're like, hey, get all your friends together and go down to the theater for the full live experience in 3D D-Box, blah blah VIP, because that's the only way to see Star Wars or whatever it is you're advertising. And then it's immediately followed by someone screaming into the camera saying, stay in your houses. Like, so that's a disconnect there. And that's actually probably a tame one. There could be things far worse there. So it could be, I don't know, Coca-Cola, for example. Apparently, there could potentially be a shortage of the sweetener that goes into Coke Zero and Diet Coke. So they might have a supply problem. So there could be a commercial for Coke that immediately is followed by somebody screaming like, oh, and who maybe conspiracy theories it up a little and says something like, oh, there'll be no Coke anywhere. Or oh, hey, maybe like they were in on it as something like some craziness. So I can appreciate a lot of the challenge that they're facing. And again, they can't police all the content because so much is uploaded every second of every day. That there could be some things that could be particularly offensive that they don't want to get tagged with, and so I wouldn't blame them for that either. But since people were asking about it in chat from previous live streams, thought I'd throw that up there. So let's see what's happening in chat. We got a few people. Achilles Melee's joined the party, which is awesome. Glad to have you here. Your SEO video are amazing. Thank you so much, Frankie. That's really nice to hear because it's one of the biggest things I talk about. It's one of the biggest challenges. It's one of the most important things I've learned as a creator, and it comes up in the Facebook group all the time. And the challenge for me is somebody writes, what's SEO? Like, they could literally do that in 2 words if you count the apostrophe S as not its own word. So what's SEO? They write 2 words, but to answer that question is like, well, I can give you the acronym is search engine optimization, but to explain what it really is, how it works, how you can use it for your advantage, pitfalls to avoid, tactics that work well for you, I would be typing a novel. So how do I help those people effectively? And the thing is like, like everyone else in our group, I'm a video content creator. So for me, creating a video made the most sense. And I'm trying to squeeze it into my workflow because I've got other things going on. Like I got my Vacation Impossible channel, I got a life to some degree, and day job and other things. And so I'm glad that they came off well because they felt a little rushed to me. The audio on the first one wasn't fantastic. The lighting on the second one was kind of dodgy. And I thought my delivery could have been better on both because they were real rush jobs. I spent some time writing the script, and I haven't, that's the other thing too, is I don't often write and then just read a script. I've virtually never done that for YouTube. So that was new for me as well. And I didn't take the time to memorize it. I wrote it, proofread it once. I probably should have proofread them a second time because there were giant errors as I was going through it. And so I noticed my eyes were going down a lot. And this is me being overly critical. But the fact is that it was about, if I try to make it, I'm driving to a point with this. If I try to make it perfect, it'll never get released. Now, admittedly, those were particular rush jobs because I had a narrow window of opportunity, not long enough to do a live stream, but long enough to do a quick recording, so I jumped on it. And so I'm really glad. The feedback on it has been completely positive on both of those videos so far. I mean, I haven't checked the like to dislike ratio, but the comments have all been amazing, which is fantastic. Because I don't present myself as a technical genius or anything. I don't know a whole bunch about lighting. I am not using my ring light today because I don't want to get into a fight, for example. So, I've got my limitations and I'm still learning like a lot of you. And so, like, I put out an unboxing video on this channel, Small YouTubers Boost, where I was unboxing the computer I'm actually broadcasting on right now, my new Dell. And so some of the comments there were really, really critical. They're like, "You're supposed to be an expert, showing us how to be successful, and your shot is trash or whatever." And it's like, yeah, you know what? Those are fair criticisms, but that's not what the video is about. The video wasn't about how to set up a perfect product shot. It wasn't like a sponsored video. I didn't get that computer for free. God, how awesome would that have been had it been the case? It was really, I was talking about like, hey, I needed a new editing computer. These are the things that went into my decision making to get this particular one. Have a look at this one, and we'll talk about it a little bit. And so I've got a video on this channel about my Fifine microphone as well. And so, maybe the lighting's not perfect, and ironically, the audio could have been better for a variety of reasons. I actually put up on the screen when you're hearing what audio, whether it was from, I was using my Microsoft Surface Pro 7, and I was using my Canon camera, and I was using the Fifine microphone. So it's clear about when you were hearing which. And so hopefully that's useful to people so they know what kind of audio quality to expect. But I don't own a drone, and not every video needs a drone shot. So yeah. Anyways, that's kind of nice. So it's really about there was a particular goal with the SEO videos, and it sounds like that goal is to some degree being achieved, and so that's really fantastic. I'm excited about that. So my next video out on this channel planned. I've recorded it, and I haven't started editing it yet. I'm hoping to get it out tomorrow in lieu of a live stream. Is one about motivation, because that's a question that comes up a lot. And so I take motivation and I break it into two categories. I don't know what kind of video to make. I lack motivation to record a video, to, okay, I need to start editing or doing some other thing I find tedious. How do I get the motivation for that? So stay tuned and subscribe to this channel so you can see that video when it comes out. And I'm also working on a script for tags for SEO. So that'll be the third video in the SEO series, and I'll probably go continue on there. I'm also thinking about a new TubeBuddy tutorial. There's a couple that I want to do. There's a really simple TubeBuddy function that I just earlier today realized how much I appreciate. I use it so much I thought it was like integrated into YouTube, and then I was doing something without TubeBuddy, and I was like, where's the tool? And it's actually really simple, but it's kind of helpful. It's the emoji picker. It's actually, for me, it's really helpful because I don't know the keyboard shortcuts for emojis. I hate scrolling through stuff, and even then you can't get it all, it seems. So it's a little tiny thing. It's going to be that when I get around to making that one, it's going to be really short. So that's something else. And I've got another idea. I was actually discussing with Achilles Melee the other day about showing you how TubeBuddy saves time. But I'll keep the details to ourselves for now. But I'm excited about recording that at some point. So got a lot of stuff on the horizon, hopefully, so we can make this a really good resource for small YouTubers. A big part of, the main reason why I do this is because I want to give everyone a fairer chance on YouTube. I had an idea about like how could I begin this live stream, so I started with a face and talking about this virus. But one of my ideas was I was going to start with a ridiculous clickbait claim like YouTube is easy. And then what I was thinking I would do is I was going to then say something like, if you just want to create videos that you enjoy, then YouTube is easy. If you want to find an audience, YouTube is hard. And that's, I think, something we're thinking about from a perspective of motivation, mental health, burnout, all of those things, because you get so focused on the numbers and you have hope for those numbers, and it's good to have goals. Have goals, write them down and tell a friend. That's all very good. Each one of those things increases your likelihood of success in it of itself. But sometimes then we become obsessed with the numbers, and we start to attach our self-worth to the numbers, or our video's worth, or our channel's worth, when so many of those things are outside of our control. And that's where it gets really hard, not just technologically, not just hustle and work hard, but mentally hard. In terms of like, yeah, you know what? Right now, my travel channel, Vacation Impossible, is in decline. And it could be a variety of factors. I know the videos I'm putting out right now are not high performing videos. They're the slow burn. They're the videos these are just short tips. And so the watch time is really short, so I don't get anticipated watch time. The algo doesn't like them very much, so why am I putting these out? Partly because creatively I want to, but also because I want these things in my back catalog because they answer very specific questions that I hear. And so when I'm in a travel community and someone's asking that very specific question, not unlike that SEO thing, instead of typing out a novel and a half to answer it, I can link to a short little video, assuming the community I'm in allows for it. They can just go watch it and get what they need very quickly. So it's a resource that I can go to answer questions, not unlike the SEO videos that I'm putting out on this channel. Because, one of the things as a content creator you should really do as much as you can is to identify a demand and then meet that demand. So the idea is I'm seeing questions repeatedly about certain things. So I'm making a video to meet that particular demand, whether it fits into all of the strategic algo stuff or not. Particularly on this channel, I'm not trying to get big. I'm not trying to have 1 million people see the video in terms of, my popularity. This channel's not monetized. It's nowhere near monetization, and that's fine. Because this is about trying to make YouTube a little bit more fair for everybody. That's what I want to do. I want people like Ace of Vegas, who is smart and funny and talented and hardworking and has got the hustle. I want to see him succeed, and I don't want some stupid technical thing to be the thing preventing that. If you try your best and, your best is a little bit of time here and there, because maybe you lack that motivation I was talking about, forthcoming video, or you lose interest quickly, or you're disinterested. You want to be a giant success, but you're not willing to put in the time. You don't have original ideas. You just want to be the next Casey Neistat. So you're going to be Casey Neistat light and not do anything original of your own. Honestly, if those people fail, if they don't get off the ground, if they don't meet their goals, I'm kind of okay with it. And so maybe that's the way it should be, because if everything is even and fair from a technological standpoint, then it really should be the art and the creativity and the hard work and hustle that distinguishes success from failure, hopefully. So, you can go and look at Casey Neistat or some other person's, Mr. Beast or somebody's last video. You can have some great technological know-how. You can go in and you can use things like TubeBuddy and other stuff to look at exactly what they did. And you can go create your own version of that thumbnail. And you can use the same title and description and tags, but being just careful enough not to misrepresent. And you could do that, and you could make, there's something called the sequel strategy. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this at all, where you find a successful video and then you go make a version of that is just like 1 minute longer. And then hopefully you get slightly more watch time, and so then the algo loves you more than the original. I'm not a big fan of that. That seems a little slimy to me. But you could go and do that. But if you're doing that solely to, make money or get, fame, fortune, whatever, if you think that's how you get to Easy Street, then yeah, maybe if you do it right and you're lucky, your video will come up recommended next to the original. And you will probably draw some measure of traffic off of that. But you'll never be anything but an echo of that original content. And if you're just doing it for those reasons, the audience won't identify with it. They probably won't stick with the video. They'll probably click off. Even if you do the jump cut academy, change the angle every 2 seconds and use like annoying air horn and sounds and cutaway gags and all this stuff that, is supposed to keep those eyeballs from getting, bored. Even if you do every trick in the book, if you don't care about what you're doing, about the actual content and words coming out of your mouth, if it's all just a strategy to make some cash, then I don't think that it's going to go very far. And the thing is, if it doesn't perform to the numbers that you want, if you're not making the money you want, you're going to move on to something else. Let's see. We've got some people in chat. One of the reasons I was just randomly talking there is I know that I've looked at Frankie London, JT Halo 9, and Achilles Melee recently. If you do have a request or a question, definitely drop it in there. But I'm seeing a couple some new faces now, like LVL1. I'm assuming that's level 1. I'm going to guess you're a gaming YouTuber. Says hello all, so welcome. If you would like a channel review, want me to look at some of the metadata on one of your videos, if you've got a question, a tutorial you'd like to see, whatever, let me know. I'll be happy to do what I can. And I mean, also Frankie, Achilles, and JT Halo, if you do have something as well, be happy to. Channel review, probably not practical, because it's been relatively recent that I think I've looked at those 3. But yeah, looking at fonts is something that's good for thumbnails. And so I always recommend Beavis. The story there was I was flying back from a cruise to Hawaii, and we had a pretty long flight and a pretty long wait for the flight as well at the airport. So I actually decided to go old school and bought some magazines. And I got like a Scientific American or something, because it had a feature on YouTubers. And so I was reading through it, and one of the things it actually talked about was fonts. And it said how the most popular font through most YouTubers that they spoke to for the article was Beavis. It's fantastic because it's free. It's fantastic because it's block letters, which is easy to read. And it's fantastic because it scales well at different resolutions. So that's sort of becoming my official YouTube font for my various things, as going forward for those particular reasons. And then sometimes what I like to do is I might introduce a secondary font. Like, for example, today, here, let's bring this up. And I saw your message, level 1, so we'll probably dive into your channel in just a moment. But just since we're on the subject of thumbnails and font, so this is Vacation Impossible, my channel, and you'll notice that hopefully the font is relatively consistent. You'll notice in some of my older videos from like back in 2017, I was experimenting with sort of the comic book Full House style font a little bit. In fact, that Sailing Out of Vancouver one, I'm breaking some of my own rules. And so I might want to consider tweaking that, because Vancouver is getting eaten up by the timestamp. So like even in the last few years, I'm getting a little bit better. The Juneau tram's running into that problem too. I'm reviewing my own channel now. This is Reviewception. But the point that I'm making is that you'll notice in the more recent uploads, the font I'm using is consistent. I might be doing slightly different things with it. Like here I put color rectangles behind it, so it popped a little bit more against the background. In others, I'm using sort of a thicker drop shadow to make it pop. And then over here, I'm using sort of a more diffuse kind of drop shadow on today's video. And so you'll see my videos these days are not doing particularly well, and that's partly due to the unnamed virus hitting the travel industry, and partly due to the fact that this is the kind of content that I know doesn't do great immediately. It is a slow burn. It's evergreen content. It applies almost year-round. And so I'm getting this out of the way when there's a slump in the industry. And so then when it comes back, because I do a lot of cruising videos, and not a lot of people interested in cruises right now. And so I have a lot of stuff I've filmed that I'm going to get to editing. And so hopefully I can time that during a recovery. And maybe not. Maybe I'll just get it out before that, and the content will be there waiting for people when the recovery happens. Either way, that's what I'm doing. The point that I was wanting to make here is this most recent thumbnail that I made today, I'm actually using 2 fonts. So I've got Beavis New that I'm using at the top here. And what this video is about, if you've ever driven down a highway or a road in the summer when it's hot, it looks like there's a pool of water. And you can even see reflections of the cars ahead of you, but you never get to the water because there is no water there. It's an optical illusion. It's a mirage. So I added in a different font, just water, question mark, and then an arrow pointing at where the illusion of water is. So that's one of the things I do. You can see I've done it before, like on how to choose a cabin. It says quiet. And so for that, it's sort of like a brush stroke. And so that's just trying to make the image a little bit more dynamic. There's the main message, but then there's something that I'm hoping intrigues people and entices people. Why is it pointing at that particular cabin? Okay, that says quiet. Why is that quiet? Now I've got questions. And it's interesting because it's a dichotomy. You want your thumbnail to explain what it's about, but also not give it all away to intrigue people as well. So people who look at that thumbnail there with my little cartoon head on it, how to choose a cabin, they know from looking just at a thumbnail, hopefully, if I've done my job right, that this is about how to choose a cabin on a cruise ship, big picture of a cruise ship. But they don't know why I'm pointing at a particular cabin. It looks like quiet is one of the priorities I have. Why is that one quiet? So I have answered one question, what's this video about, but now introduced a new deeper question that hopefully entices people to click. 558 views on that video, so maybe I haven't done the greatest job. I don't know. Or it could just be the type of content. Maybe it's super competitive. There could be a lot of reasons for that. So that's just some thoughts about thumbnails and fonts. So let's see here. Yeah, so it looks like LVL1, level 1 presumably, would like a review. So let's get into that. Clear, readable, bold. Yeah, that's what you want. And so most of the block stuff here is Bebas new, and the brushstroke is just one of the standard Windows ones, brushstroke standard or something. I think pretty straightforward. So let's go check out level 1. That is probably, let's see here.
Yeah.
It's a cool name. I like the sound of it and the look of it, but it is as its own keyword, it's a little problematic. TubeBuddy, I have the browser plugin installed here. If you don't have TubeBuddy, there's a link in the description. Even the free version gets you a lot of the functionality you'll see here today, and I highly recommend it. If you're doing YouTube without TubeBuddy, you're playing with one arm tied behind your back. Why are you making it harder on yourself? Just go get it, and it'll change your life. And if you're not sure how to use it, I've got a dozen tutorial videos here on this channel you can watch later, and it'll explain a lot more in depth. But what I have here in the browser plugin is the Search Explorer. And so this gives me a keyword score for everything I search on YouTube every time, which is nice. Even when I'm just doing, watching YouTube for my own entertainment, and I'm, I want to go watch Stephen Colbert or I don't know, Real Time with Bill Maher or some other thing, MSNBC, Ace of Vegas, Achilles Melee, whatever I feel like watching. When I search it, it's good to have this information because it stays in my consciousness. And so it builds a general awareness and understanding of SEO and searchability of particular keywords. And it's interesting to see how big channels, traditional media uses it versus smaller channels versus, I love Roberto Blake. I watch his stuff. And so I see how he, even though he's a very substantial YouTuber, like something 400,000 subs at this point, probably creeping up on 500,000, he still uses long tail keywords. And that seems to work very well for him. And so that's interesting. So anyways, just looking here, what TubeBuddy does is it looks at the volume and the competition. The volume is how many people are searching for that term. The competition is how many videos or channels are out there that have that term. So in this case, the search volume is like, it's just one area better than the worst area. So it's not red, it's orange. So that's a little bit better. And it looks like there's a fair bit of competition as well. And so overall, it combines those two things into a single score, so you can easily compare two different things. And so this is coming up for this channel name, a poor 16 out of 100. You have 515 subscribers. I suspect you already have your custom URL. You're probably locked into the name. And you know what? That is all okay. When it comes to channel names, sometimes it's nice to consider the SEO of the name itself. But generally speaking, it's not a huge factor because you're more tied into things like branding and building a name for yourself. This is more for, because I never know who's watching. I try to make this useful for a variety of people, not just the one channel I'm looking at. So if you're thinking about starting out and you have less than 100 subscribers and you're thinking about what your name should be, maybe playing around with some keywords to pick a name if you're that early in your development of your channel that does better in search. That'll be an advantage to your channel over the life of the channel. Actually, I just want to talk about keywords for a second here. I want to show you something I did earlier today using the TubeBuddy Keyword Explorer. This is, again, that browser plugin. Highly recommend you get it. Link down below. If you decide to get the paid version, join our Facebook group and check the announcements. You can get a discount code, save you 20% off any paid plan. Video's not sponsored. So anyways, today I did that video I was talking about, this road trip mirage effect, right? And so I went in and I thought, okay, yeah, you know what? Water on the road, and it's a mirage. So I wanted road, water, mirage. And so I came here. This is literally what I did this morning. I came here and I searched, and I saw, okay, it's getting a good score of 57 over 100. Not bad. And then I thought to myself, okay, mirage, is that really that common a way of thinking about it? It's kind of an optical illusion. So I thought, okay, let's check optical illusion. And so I gave that a search. Remember, 57 is the score I just had. Now it drops down to 29. Because TubeBuddy does that work for you. All I had to remember was 57. And all I have to need to compare it to is 29. And so now I know that optical illusion doesn't do as well as mirage. So in the end, I titled it Road, Water, Mirage. And then I also put optical illusion on there. But the order of the words was important because I wanted road, water, mirage together. And you'll see that that appears in the description and in the keywords as well. So that was part of my process this morning. If that's helpful to y'all, just thinking about SEO generally, tagging on to that. Related searches, level 100 potato is one that's interesting. Level 1 text. Most used tags, montage, LOL, League, Xbox, calisthenics. something that looks like it's Cyrillic, so something Russian. Pentakill, I don't know, I guess that's killing 5 people with 1 shot, maybe. Best lol moments. Okay, so the picture on the profile here is of a person with their mouth open, kind of surprised and a little happy, I would say. It looks like a positive surprise. Hi, Professor. Welcome. Good to see you in chat. I'm just doing a channel review for LVL1 or Level 1. I'm not sure what they prefer verbally. And so that matches the profile picture in chat. And it, in chat, it's clearly somebody's head. They're clearly, Caucasian and blonde and wearing a darker shirt. And that matches here. Here I can see a bit more detail. They got blue eyes, what color the shirt is. It's clearly like a t-shirt. So that doesn't convey information, but it's not a bad logo. So it scales nicely, and I think it's pretty good. And there's not a lot of space in the profile picture to do much more than that, so I think you're probably doing well. Glancing down below, I see that in your thumbnails you use that shot with some consistency and regularity. So you've got some branding there, which is, I think, good. So now we're going to move on to the description of the channel. And there is the most common cardinal sin of small YouTubers here, I think, when it comes to channel descriptions. And again, begins by saying, welcome to Level 1 Entertainment. And so I understand that you want to be welcoming, and that's a good instinct, but in text, I don't think it reads well. Remember also that only about the first 20 or so, first 120 characters or so from your description appear in search results. And you're probably like, Ray, why do we care? Most people, and that's why I started doing these live streams, like, I don't know, 2 years ago. They started off as Facebook Lives in our group and then migrated over here. A big part of it was because people forget about their channel descriptions. And yeah, they're not the most important thing, but as small YouTubers, we need every advantage we can get. And so my belief is that to do well on YouTube as a small YouTuber, there's like 100 things you kind of got to do. And so because you don't have the budget of the Tonight Show, they could buy tons of ads. They have a built-in audience on their TV show. They say, go check us out on YouTube. We don't have those advantages. If they wanted to run massive ads on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube itself, it's probably a small percentage of their budget, a line item. It's petty cash. It's pocket change. But for us, that could be a substantial investment. So how do we compete against these big guys? We do the little technical things a little bit better, a little bit more carefully. And hopefully that levels that playing field that's currently hugely tilted. Let's just make it a little less tilted. So nobody, from an SEO standpoint, nobody is searching welcome to. In fact, let's do it. Let's keyword search welcome to. I'm thinking a single digit score. Could we get a 0? I almost hope there's a 0. Just to kind of make my point for me. Welcome to. Let's see, how does that do? Better than I thought. So it gets a 15 out of 100. It's poor. Search volumes are actually really high, which is weird. Maybe because of all these autocompletes, welcome to the party, welcome to the jungle. So, they're looking for either music or, maybe a clip from Die Hard or something. Number of videos in search results, 508 million. That's 500 million. And so that's the problem there. The competition's astronomical. The search is unusually high. It's apparently searched 350,000 times each month, which is huge, way higher than I would have expected. But the competition makes them, as an SEO, it's kind of a waste of space. So what we want to do is have at the beginning of your written channel description something that explains what you're about and entices people to click as much as possible in as short a space of time and characters as possible. So you say, welcome to Level 1 Entertainment. This is where you'll find gaming playthroughs of retro and popular games, as well as reactions too. Now that second sentence is very solid. And so here is how you fix this easily and gain yourself a little bit more space before you get cut off. Just say, Level 1 Entertainment is where you'll find gaming, and go from there, right? Because right now you say, welcome to X, and then you say this is a stand-in for X. So from a certain standpoint, you're actually repeating yourself here if you look at it that way. So just say Level 1 Entertainment is where you'll find gaming playthroughs of retro and popular games, as well as reactions to the latest game trailers or whatever it is you do. But then you get a little bit more, and now people know what you're reacting to. And maybe they want to see reactions to the gameplay trailer or whatever it might be. Reactions to other gamers maybe, I don't know. So that is useful, I think. It's just a tiny little thing, and then you do it once and then you leave it. You can go back and look periodically, especially as your channel evolves over time. I think it could be like an annual thing or semi-annual. What is it? We're coming up on, for those that observe daylight savings time, we're springing forward tonight at 2 a.m. Oh, goodbye, more sleep. And one of the things they say about that is kind of funny. They say you should check your smoke detectors when you change the clocks. The reason for that is just that it's a trigger. It's like, well, you're going around the house adjusting all of your clocks anyways. Why not make one more stop at the smoke detector and check its batteries while you're at it? Because you should probably do that twice a year. So how about when you do that, adjust your clocks, check your smoke detector, and then check your channel description to make sure it's still accurate. Has your channel taken a hard left turn since you wrote it? Is it still accurate? And have you learned more about SEO and what works for you, and learned about your audience and what they like to see and what they expect, that maybe you can make some tweaks to it to improve things? I think twice a year is probably more than you need to do. I think annually is sufficient. So maybe make it like, okay, that's what I'll do on, I don't know, Boxing Day or something. Arbor Day. Make it the Arbor Day tradition. And then people can say, well, I actually do a thing on Arbor Day. Just something to think about. Looking at the results here, one thing they actually, and I was talking about how that as a keyword wasn't scoring very well, but let's acknowledge here that you came up #1 your channel when I searched it. And the 2 videos that show are also you. Then below that, you get into a couple other channels. And this is interesting. There's another channel that's in a similar level that you're at in terms of just some raw numbers. You've got 515 subscribers. They've got 571. You've got 79 videos. Excuse me, they've got 65. So you're in a similar kind of cohort there in that respect. But you're crushing it because you're covering the top 3 results of the spread and they're languishing down in 4. But let's go one more further than that, because this is where you can feel really good. There's something that you're doing very well here. You are owning your name and your brand very effectively despite the competition, because the next one down is a verified channel with 284,000 subscribers and over 800 videos. So, you're beating them in this one thing. And that's what I'm talking about with small YouTubers. If we can find some narrow band where we can beat the big guys and find an audience, that's how we grow. And so when it comes to your channel name, you're already doing that. And that's probably part of how you got to 500 subscribers. So well done there. You're definitely owning your brand. Fantastic. And so I also look at your thumbnails here. Your thumbnails are good. They're easy to read. They're very clear. They were both live streams. One is about Rocket League. Rocket League, the words Rocket League is a little hard to read, but it's still kind of okay. You might want to consider, and this might be actually a cool thing, is if you were to decide to edit the thumbnail for that, you could put like a 50% fill gray rectangle behind it, make it like it's coming out of the crest. And so it's not just the Rocket League logo. You've done something to modify it a little bit, make it unique a little bit, your own a little bit, and then stand out against the crowd, whilst at the same time making the words Rocket League easier to read. And they will pop a little bit better. So that's a little tweak on that thumbnail that I'd recommend. Otherwise, I wouldn't touch it. I think it's great. That's the only change I would make. And then it's also interesting up here that you have channel reviews and shoutouts. So first off, I'll say, hey, if you ever want to review or shout out Vacation Impossible, Small YouTubers Boost, you go right ahead. You got my permission. Let me know. I'll come watch it. But that having been said, it seems like a slight disconnect from your content, because we're talking gaming playthroughs, retro and popular games, and then we're talking Rocket League and the tags that I'm looking at. So, but this is about supporting creators, not unlike my Small YouTubers Boost channel here that you're on right now. And so I very intentionally had this as a separate venture, separate name, separate branding, because my travel channel and my taking the learnings from that and sharing it with other creators are 2 very separate endeavors. And when we try to mix things like that and we trend towards that variety content, we confuse the algorithm, and the algorithm is less likely to work with us. So that's interesting. One thing that I would think about this is, if you are specifically reviewing gaming channels, that brings it a little bit back more in line. And I know I just kind of talked myself out of a review, if you follow that advice, because I don't have a gaming channel. But at least then it will be more in line with the algorithm and less likely to kind of be a challenge. And so I don't know. I mean, these live streams that I do with channel reviews, they always get an audience of some kind. If I were to and this is an interesting idea, maybe I should do this one day. I don't know. If I were to say gaming channels only, in one particular live stream, I think it's a third of YouTube is gaming. So if you were to restrict it and niche down even just that narrowly, if you continue doing this sort of thing, then I think that you would you would be rewarded in the algorithm for being a little bit more specifically consistent. So that's a thought. Some interesting things about it. You do have your face where the time code is. So I would recommend potentially flipping it around like you do in the Rocket League video. But it's kind of okay. You could just move your head up just a little bit to get above the time code, but on some resolutions it won't make a difference. One way you could do that is you could tilt the text a little bit more and then make room to move your head up a touch. That's interesting. So a couple of the things here, the imagery I'm seeing is not really about channel reviews, but that can be hard to convey. Trust me, I know, I try on this channel. But the logo that appears there reminds me of the Winamp logo. Which, if that's what it is kind of interesting. Do you whip the llama's ass? I have to ask. This is old school stuff. There's gonna be some younger millennials in the crowd that'd be like, "What the hell is Ray talking about?" I still use Winamp to listen to my MP3, so I'm hardcore. I've got it on my Surface 7. I've got it on my brand new Dell here. Because it still is pretty awesome as far as I'm concerned. If let's say I didn't read. And I'm looking at this, and so if I just kind of like unfocus my eyes, it's like, let's pretend I can't read those words. I'm just going to see what looks like the Winamp logo, and so I'm going to think that this is about music. Maybe it's going to be talking about how Winamp is still a great music player, and it'd be nice if they updated it, made it for mobile. If I didn't know Winamp and its logo, it looks like a lightning bolt. Are you reviewing Black Lightning? Or are you talking about being struck by lightning? Like, visually, from an iconography standpoint, it doesn't convey much information. It's nice, though. I like the font you're using. It pops well. The color scheme is nice. Those things are good. And the text does convey information quite clearly. So that is fine. So that's fine. Reading the title here, Channel Shoutouts, Reviews, and Networking Live, Let's Grow Together. So that first part is fine. It's interesting, networking live. Do you mean like you're actually going to be talking to somebody in your live stream about, hey, we should collab. Let's talk. I'll send you my contact information. Is it the virtual equivalent of being at a conference and exchanging business cards? I'd be curious about that. I'm not sure that it would have a broad audience, but honestly, that's something I might want to watch just because I'd be curious. One of the things I think a lot of entrepreneurs, younger YouTubers, at least young in the sense of young in their journey, not by age, smaller YouTubers, if you're interested in brand deals, seeing how those things are negotiated, if you're negotiating things live in your live stream, that could make for some very interesting content that small YouTubers could find useful. But then there's this phrase, let's grow together, and that is a giant red flag for me. That makes me incredibly nervous because that sounds like, at worst, sub for sub, which is against YouTube's terms of service and will get your channel shut down. If you didn't know that, thank God you came here and ran into me. You can check. It's very easily found in the terms of service. It's under their fake engagement policy. If you do sub for sub, your channel will get shut down, and it's not an empty threat. I run the Small YouTubers Boost Facebook group with over 134,000 members, and I have lost count of probably at least the hundreds of times, if not more, that someone has wandered into the group after having their channel shut down, thinking that we can save them with a magic cheat code, ABBA, and you get your channel back. It's not an 8-bit video game. It doesn't work that way. And they're like, oh, I lost my channel. And of course, the conversation is never that simple because everything's in code. Because they think if they use a code, they're not going to get caught. And that's where Let's Grow Together becomes problematic, because that's one of the common codes for sub for sub. It's not consistent, and so if someone says that in my group, I don't instantly ban them. If I have the time, I try to ask them, what do you mean by that? Because on their own, those words mean almost nothing. What is specifically, what action are you requesting? Are you offering? What do you envision happening? How do you get there? Any of that. Give me something concrete in a full English sentence so I can understand. Hey, there's different ways that we can do that. If you're talking I'll review your channel if you review mine, That's fine. That's fantastic. That's a great thing. I mean, heck, I'm reviewing your channel now. If you want to review mine, go right ahead. That's awesome. But if you're trying to do sub for sub, watch for watch, something like that, that's very different, and that's much shadier. And so when I see that phrase, I get nervous. And there's a lot of people, because they've seen it in so many sub for sub things out there, that the second they see that, they assume that about you. And that's not great. And it's a shame, because I mean, if it's coming from an innocent place, either that you don't know that sub for sub is against the rules, or you're not doing sub for sub, and you just legitimately want us to like collaboratively work together to find success, and so that's coming from a good place. Sometimes my heart goes out to these sub for subbers because they just don't know, and so I try to make it an educational opportunity as much as I can when I have the time. But it's like, I want people to subscribe, and I should give something back. I want help. I should be willing to help others in the way that I want to be helped. The golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. Like, I can see how, as a very simple logical progression, somebody could come to thinking that sub for sub is actually a nice thing to do if they're ignorant of the fact that it's completely against the rules and technically fraud. And so that's part of what I try to get out there, is messaging to people. And that's why it's our rule number one in the Small YouTubers Boost Facebook group, is that we ban for sub, because so many people come wandering in and they're like, I spent 8 years building this channel and it's gone. And maybe I didn't back up those videos. Those videos are gone. What can I do? You can do nothing. In fact, you're not even supposed to start over. From the technical terms of service, if your channel gets shut down, you are not supposed to create another one. You're supposed to be done on YouTube forever. Now, I don't know that they have an effective way of enforcing that, and that's a whole separate conversation. So let's just talk about that one channel. You put all the time and effort into making it, whatever it is, whatever amount of time you put in, and then in an instant it's gone, and you can't so much as ask a question if that is why it was shut down. And I don't blame YouTube either. If I found somebody committing credit card fraud, I wouldn't give them a second chance. I wouldn't give them another credit card, right? And so it has subscriptions need to be legitimate. It needs to be because you're interested, and they have ways of detecting it, and they don't publicize those ways. If you hear people saying, "Oh, it's in line with the monetization policy," and if you watch 20 seconds or a minute, or if you click 3 times and turn around and say Beetlejuice or something, then they won't detect it. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about. For one thing, if they were right, if they did know the algorithm, they'd be hugely popular without sub for sub by just spilling the beans about the algorithm. Just don't believe these people, and when they have to say things like it's not illegal, then it's probably shady AF at best. Back away slowly, be Homer Simpson sinking back into the hedge, that's the time to go away. Whenever they say, like, if you have to say that your stuff is legit, then okay, so clearly people think you're not legit, that you have to say this up front now. Like, what non-legit looking things are you doing, right? So it's a triggering phrase, in case that's not coming across, and it's just not the way to do it. So I really hope that's not something you're doing. If it was or is, I hope you take this as I'm trying to help, because legitimately I am. I don't want to see you lose your channel. You're owning your brand. I don't want to see this hard work disappear. And that's the thing. Somebody puts in a whole bunch of work, and then they get that notion of sub for sub, or they think it's the shortcut or the easy way, or some shady dude on Fiverr tells them it's fine. Then they just blow it all up, and there is no recourse because it's fraud. And I've seen it so many times. And the funny thing is how they always come into the group is they're like, I did nothing wrong. We've seen it so many times. Sometimes we jump to conclusions, and sometimes we're a little too harsh, and I try to pull back on that. I want us to keep an open mind and imagine that people might have the best of intentions, and they might not be what we assume just because we see it. I'm trying not to judge you based on this phrase. Let's grow together. But they say, I did nothing wrong and my channel got shut down. What can I do? And that's the only detail they provide. So normally what I'll do is I'll ask something like, oh, can you provide a screenshot of the notification you got? And maybe we can figure out from what YouTube actually said to you in their actual own words what really happened, and whether or not you may have a recourse. Sometimes you do. But if it's sub for sub, you don't. And so many times, somebody gets their channel shut down, 90, 95, 99% of the time, we dig just a little bit. And we find that they were either violating copyright really bad. That's like the 1 to 9%. The other 90% is that they were almost all doing sub for sub. And so it happens a lot. And so we have empirical observations, experiential things that we've seen time and time again. We know it's policy. We also know it's reality in the real world. So to anybody watching thinking about doing sub for sub, that message was a no. It's a firm no, in case it was unclear. So let's see here. Want to support the channel with a donation or just buy us a lunchtime coffee? Click below to share the love and help us. So in the description of that video, you're starting off by asking for money, and that's a tricky thing to do, particularly as it's coming up in search results. Here, you haven't provided any value yet. So, I mean, there could be philanthropy people out there who just want to go find any cause to give money to without knowing practically anything about them. Maybe they're like, hey, that's an attractive guy, I'd like to give him money. I don't know. I think that's exceptionally rare. I'd be curious to know how well that's going for you. Have you been getting these donations? Is it driving stuff? I would suggest that the beginning... Oh, and that's the description for your next video as well, as it begins with that donation request. That's problematic. That's not good SEO, and I don't think it's great service to your viewers. I think I have a couple SEO videos here on this channel talking about how to write titles and descriptions for SEO. And one of the big tricks I talk about is, bare minimum, copy your title in its entirety and put it in the description. That will help that video do better. So you could put that at the beginning. I think what would be even better than that is just a further explanation of what it is. It's a description. That's what the field is labeled. You get 5,000 characters to put in a description. And yes, you can include things like this, requests for money and what have you, donations, but you really should primarily focus on providing a description. Otherwise, you're not using the box for what it's for. And YouTube doesn't like that kind of thing very often. The algo, so both in terms of the algo, you want to have a description so it can pick up on certain keywords that hopefully align with your title and your content, and then show your video in search and recommended. But at the same time, there are human eyeballs on this, and so you want to speak to the human as well as the machine. And when you talk to the human, you're going to want to give them information as to what it's about and a reason to want to click. And this is just asking for money. That's going to put a lot of people off from a first impressions standpoint. Let me just check here. I'm getting a message about how long I can do my live stream. Oh, wow. Cool. So it looks like I could probably go for at least another hour and a half, assuming my stamina keeps up. So that's exciting. We've almost already been going for an hour. I'm still in my first channel review. Okay, so I'm just going to check in chat because when I'm doing level was correct. Good, I'm saying it right. I assumed that's what it was. So, that's obvious to your audience. When I do channel reviews, I try to very narrowly focus on what I'm talking about without looking at chat. So I'm just going to quickly check in with chat now to see what I've been saying. Drop the welcome to, got it. Keep it simple, check. Actually, my channel has evolved and the description does actually need to be changed. Well, there you go. Yeah, I should have put a layer glow on it. That would be good too, yeah. Yes, absolutely. It's a left field feature just for support of small YouTubers. Okay, oh, you're talking about doing reviews and stuff. Currently, it's every sort of channel. That you do review. Actually, yes, I should niche it to gaming maybe. I think that would be good. It's just a stock royalty-free image. Oh, Winamp was always, I think, pretty much, it was always free. There might have been premium versions. So I'm wondering if they just happened to use the same stock image, assuming that's what you're talking about there. Absolutely, it's full-blown conversation live. I'm extremely careful to convert, I think you mean convey, that it's not sub for sub, it's a general conversation. Fantastic. And so I hope you don't think that rant about sub for sub was directed at you particularly, but I never know who's watching, and it's just part of my goals to get that message out there into the world, so I was kind of using you as an opportunity to do that. So I hope you're cool with that. I say you must only follow someone if you genuinely like their content. Switch the name up, give it a refresh. Nope, none of that. Fantastic. Moderators who keep the chat clean too. That's awesome. Got a couple awesome moderators here, including Achilles Melee. So glad to have him here. He keeps the chat moderated well, and then I've got another dozen moderators, different moderators in the Facebook group that get the job done. I wish you had the live chat up in front of you. He'll look back at it, yeah. And as I learn more about live streaming, I know that others have the chat up, and I'm a single monitor user because that's just, I'm old school. So maybe if I end up getting a second monitor, I can put chat on a second monitor one day or put it in the window. We'll see. I don't know. But for now, I think we're doing okay. Let's dive into the channel now. Going back to the review. Okay, you got a green screen effect there. So this is serving as your channel trailer, runs 2.5 minutes, a little long for a trailer, but that's okay. And it's interesting what you've got going on here. Raft, WTF ending, hilarious ending, live stream highlights. So, yeah, if it's highlights of live streams, then it does kind of potentially serve as a channel trailer. So I think that's okay. I think you're doing well with that. There's something odd here in the description. You have some extra spaces. There's an extra space after the word after and after the word of. I know, super nitpicky, doesn't really matter. It's just, it caught my eye. So that's fine. Super unimportant. I like your banner. Your banner's really solid. Let's see, gameplay reactions and much more, daily live streams. If that's accurate, that's cool. I mean, it balances the image nicely, but I just really worry about people who make public statements about their schedule because people get sick. People get viruses. There's reasons why sometimes people can't, and daily is a lot to ask. And the fact that you were, 69, 79 videos so far. So you've been at it for a little while, but the burnout factor can really catch up to you pretty fast. I mean, if you're truly putting out daily content, then your video back catalog represents no more than 2 months worth of content. And let's see, 2 months, 3 months ago, that's within range, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So it hasn't been 5 months of daily. It could have been a recent change that you went daily, and that's fine. I just worry about YouTubers putting that pressure on their shoulders, and it driving them to distraction and stress and those sorts of things. So yeah, just something to think about. You could just drop the word daily and you just have live streams. But no, I really like this banner. It's framed perfectly. The icon's really good. You got like Angry Birds. You got one of the ghosts from Pac-Man, Power Up Mushroom, Pokeball, Alien from Space Invaders or whatever. Camera? Is that a camera maybe? A DSLR? My first thought was like a Game Boy Advance, but it's not quite right. Then the next one is a bit more of a generic controller. And then you got Pac-Man himself. And so those icons are pretty cool, makes it really clear, gives me a really good idea of the kind of stuff that you play. And so I like that. You got your social links in there, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and hold on, YouTube? What is this? What do we have here? It looks like a channel link. What's this? Recursive linking. That ain't great. I would suggest removing that YouTube link. I don't think that's doing anything for you. It just takes people to where they already are. But the other 3 are fantastic. They're properly formatted, so that's good. Just out of curiosity, glancing here. So your Twitter handle's Level 1 Gaming. Nice. Same with Instagram. So you've got some consistency there of the name. That's fantastic. That's great. It's partly why you're owning your brand, I bet. Channels to check out. I like that. Somebody called the Game Boys. That's kind of cute. I like that name. Twiggy the Tree. That's somebody who was in our group for a while there. They used to join live streams periodically, if I'm not mistaken. I think. Don't quote me on it, but that name seems really familiar. I think they were at some point a member of the community of Small YouTubers Boost in their way. Hold on a second. Just getting a message here. That's funny. Someone's just asking me if I have any thoughts on this unnamed virus affecting cruises. Hell yeah, I do, but that's a conversation for a different venue, I think. I'm booked on a cruise sailing out of New York, going to Fort Lauderdale in October. Sailing out of New York City, never been to New York City. Going to Fort Lauderdale, never been to Fort Lauderdale. Goes to doesn't go to Costa Rica. Goes to Grand Turk, the Panama Canal, which I've never done before, Colombia, which I've never been to before. And I have some concerns about whether I'll be able to do that. So, yeah. What's this here? Oh my, apparently Carnival Panorama is currently on hold for debarkation due to a sick passenger. I love the Panorama. She's such a good ship. I sailed on her in December. That is interesting. That is unfortunate. I hope things turn around for the better as soon as possible. But we're not here to talk about a certain unnamed virus, even though it's kind of what I started the show with. Getting back into the channel review here. So, after 12 hours of Raft live streaming, we were met with an incredible ending. Check out the ridiculous finish right here. Comment F in the comments section to pay your respects. I don't know what that comment F thing is about. One thing I know that has been a recent development with YouTube is they've been catching wise to people who have been commenting only emojis. Apparently that's been There's been a lot of bot behavior that looks like that. And so I don't think single character comments are necessarily there. It's just something to keep in mind. And then going on to the donation part from there, which is fine. That's good. Get the description and a call to action, and then the request. That's a much better progression, I think, than those other two. Let's see here. So you got the lives there, recent activities. It's an all right layout. Popular uploads. Baby Yoda wants rage against the machine. 45 seconds. I bet it's just like, I'm guessing it's a loop of Baby Yoda. It looks like he's rocking out to rage. That's just a guess. That's kind of a cool idea if that's what that is. Let's see. RuneScape begging for millions. I really like your thumbnails. Your thumbnails are really on point. You got a really expressive face, and you're putting it into your thumbnails in a really effective way. I like that. I mean, there's a little less... It doesn't have huge consistency necessarily. I'm thinking mostly about the Start a Gaming channel with the red outline. But the red outline, which I think is actually a really nice design in its own right, it's just thematically very different. But if you're going to be doing some of this supporting gaming creators, and if you consistently had that red box around it, maybe doing that consistently like with your channel reviews as well, that might be good so that people can very easily navigate your channel. So if I'm a small creator and I want to get creator feedback, I'll look for those red boxes. If I'm a gamer and I don't give a damn about YouTube, I just want to watch gaming, then I'll avoid the red boxes. That could be a really nice way of having that sort of being very clear. But that having been said, yeah, I mean, the rest of these thumbnails are really solid. I like the picture that you got here about the Rise of Skywalker movie review. That's a great thumbnail. I mean, it kind of looks like you might be holding the white bladey part of the lightsaber. So I mean, if you could make it look like you could show just a little bit more hilt at the top to make it clear that you're not like basically, cutting off all your fingers. But otherwise, you did that really, really well. I know that there's a lot of like gamers out there who do, and reviewers out there that do that kind of stuff, and they do it to varying degrees of quality. I would put you on the higher end of that quality spectrum. So your thumbnail game is really solid. You got some graphic design editing chops here that I don't think I can have much to contribute to beyond that drop shadow thing I mentioned about Rocket League, or having like a rectangle or something behind it. Like you've got your logo, you've got a logo, and that's pretty awesome. And yeah, I'm torn about whether or not you could incorporate the logo into the thumbnail. I don't think there's enough. I mean, not the thumbnail, the profile picture. But I don't think there's enough space. So yeah, it would be hard to. I don't know what to do for that. Got a different. Okay. Anyways. Okay. Cool. Let's take a look at Channelytics. This is part of TubeBuddy. It's going to tell me some things. So here are your channel tags. Let's see, you got level 1, which is good. That's partly how you're owning your name, is having that channel tag there. So yes, leave that. Retro Gaming, Classic Games, Let's Play, level 1, Ben Collins, Movie Reviews, SNES Game Review. Hello, now we're talking. PUBG channel, Gaming Channel Gameplays. Those are pretty good. I think you could add a few more. I'm curious about Ben Collins. That's an interesting tag. Is that your real name? Or is it a character in a game that I'm unfamiliar with? I've never played Raft, for example. Or is it someone you've collabed with? I'm not seeing another under other channels to look at. I'm not seeing a Ben Collins there, so I suspect it's not someone you're collabing with. So that is the one that's not like the other, in sort of that Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the other. So I'm not sure that that's doing much for you. And just because I seem to be all about keyword research today, I guess I'm in a mood. Let's actually search that. I don't think it'll score well. On Top Gear as himself, NBC reporter, Grand Tour, the Stig. Is that the guy that was the Stig? Okay, that's interesting. I learned something new today. I used to watch Top Gear. I watch Grand Tour now. I'm not a car guy, but I enjoy the show. It's entertaining. They're entertaining guys. But it's a score of 7 out of 100. This is funny. Okay, let's consider this for a moment. In any given month, about 112,000 people will search the name Ben Collins, presumably because he's the Stig. Apparently, I did not know. So, okay. But there are 2.88 million videos with that name in it. There are... What is it? It would be 2,000% more videos than there are searches. So that's not great. And that's why it gets a poor score. I would, unless you have videos about the Stig or whatever. I mean, if that's your real name, frankly, I'd remove it so that people don't need to know your real name. Like, if you blow up, you might not want that out there. And if it's like something about the Stig, I'm not seeing anything here that indicates any interest in the Grand Tour or Top Gear. So that was unexpected. Let's see here. What kind of growth pattern? We've got a little bit of stuff happening recently here, particularly around the beginning of March to March 6th. I think you've had a bit of a growth spurt there. Oh, and look at that. Some subscriber growth that corresponds fairly nicely. We're talking around the 25th until around the 6th. So the subscriber growth preceded... Well, no, okay. You've got... No, there was a bit of a view growth there. So you're having a good month. I think we can acknowledge that. So far, you're having a good month. And I bet... Yeah. So, like, here we go. We've got, like, some videos. But I'm also noticing that on the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, no videos. But your banner says daily live streams. Now, I'm not trying to break your balls on this or anything. I'm absolutely not. What I'm saying is if you change your banner and just let yourself off the hook, drop the word daily. Just say gaming live streams maybe or something. You're just live streams. You could drop off the much on the left side and drop off daily on the right side, so the image balance is still a little bit equivalent. But if you're not going daily, don't say you're going daily is my advice. And again, it's not because your audience is going to care. I don't know that they will. It's more about the impact I'm worried that it would have on you over time. Now, that having been said, you did put out 28 videos in 30 days. So that is very close to daily if you look at it as an average. One day you put out 5 videos, which is problematic in the algorithm. I really suggest no more than 1 per day. Otherwise, your videos start to compete with each other, and you start to cannibalize your own audience, and that gets problematic in the algorithm. Got some playlists here. New releases. That's an interesting playlist. One-off videos, and there's 14 of them. That's kind of funny if you think about it. Reactions. First game, first win. Oh, well, no, that's the thumbnails. Mobile games. I was drawn to your thumbnail because your thumbnails are so good. I want to read the title. I want to look at the thumbnail. Retro games. That's pretty cool. Let's go back to the homepage for just a second. No channel trailer. I don't watch videos on these live streams because I don't want to deal with copyright issues, and I frankly don't have the time. I already take a lot of time, you may have noticed with these. So, yeah, here's a little thing that I recommend you go and do, and because you don't have many, it shouldn't take you very long at all. You need to write a description for each of your playlists. It will appear here under the name of the playlist, and it helps you with SEO. So for reactions, make sure your description includes the word reactions. For the mobile games one, make sure that the description includes the words mobile games. Put it in sentence format, but that will help you with SEO. Checking the About page as I wrap up this channel review. Related content. I went on a wobbler recently about content. I don't think I'll do that again today. You can go back and watch previous live streams if you want. I want to support the channel with a donation. So these are not clickable links. So if you want people to click these things, I would suggest putting them under the links section, and then they'll be hyperlinked. Because, I mean, you're asking for money, and then on top of asking for money, you're making it difficult for people to give you the money. And, you know, as a consumer, sometimes that's annoying. There's times where I want to buy stuff, like when the NES Classic came out. I mean, you're a retro gamer. You must have been there with me and had feelings about that. I don't even want to talk about how I got my NES Classic. I feel shame. Let's just say I went on eBay and paid too much. So I was part of the problem that time, I admit, and I apologize. I should have had more faith in Nintendo. But anyways, it was so hard to give them money. I'm like, Nintendo, I want to give you money. Why are you making this so hard? Even the Super Nintendo controller for the Nintendo Switch, when you have online, I had to wait forever. I was finally able to get it a couple weeks ago. I would have bought it at, like, the first day, but it was sold out in Canada, or just not available in Canada for the longest bloody time. So, like, as much as possible, make it easy for people to give you money. And notice you got your Patreon here. So this is what you're wanting people to do. You want them to highlight the link, copy the link, and then paste it to go to the thing to give you money. So you're making them jump through extra hoops, which decreases the likelihood that they'll do it. And it's a pretty big ask to begin with. So let's see here. I'm curious how you've set up your Patreon. I love that banner. That banner is almost even better, maybe. Maybe because your face is duplicated down here. So if you put the face in there, and that was your banner on YouTube, that might even be a little better than what you got now. What you got now is really sharp. I like that. That is nice. Let's see here. So you got 3 tiers: a $2, a $4, and a $10. 10-second video shout-out, Discord access, in-depth 5-minute channel review at $10. Should I start charging for these things? Would this qualify for $10? That's interesting. Not actually, and you don't have any sign-ups on Patreon yet, which is interesting. So, okay, that was that got personally interesting for me towards the end there. Let's see here. Going back in chat. Let's see. Really wish you had the live chat up. Yeah, I mentioned that. No, I get it. You've got to get that out there. Thank you for being cool. I appreciate that. Also, we got Squishy Reviews and 258 Comics in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. Let's see. I did have a proper trailer, but again, we've gone a slightly different direction and haven't had a chance to make another. And I think what you've got right now, since it's highlights, is it kind of is a trailer in anything but name. But of course, you could make a more refined one. And I say that having not watched it, so hopefully it doesn't come across as too judgy. But you could make a more refined one, more targeted as a trailer. But what you've got right now is holding the line quite nicely, I think. This is the change we made from editing to streaming. Oh, okay. So you used to do specific videos, now you do live streams. Hey, for those of you who hate editing, that is sometimes an option depending on what kind of videos you make. Empty out of there. I think it's time for the Tums as I read chat. And no, it's not stress. I have a hiatus hernia, so that means my stomach is in the wrong place, and I get acid reflux like freaking words I can't say. Let's see here. I can't get rid of the YouTube one for some reason. That's weird. In order to do that, it should be relatively straightforward. Unless you're getting an error, which is possible. The way to remove a link, quick tutorial, for anyone who might care. Go to the About page of your own channel. You click this Customize Channel button. And then you scroll on down here. You click the Edit, this pencil icon, and the links. Sometimes you gotta click it twice, I guess. Then there's this trash icon over here. You just click that and click Done, and it should remove it. That should be all it takes. Unless you're getting some kind of an error. Change the name of the channel networking stream. Cool. One of the big channels I watch does that. They say drop a house if you've got to this part of the video. Or something along them lines. And do people do it? Is there, I mean, it's a bigger channel, but in the comment section on those videos, do you notice people dropping houses, which is actually kind of a funny thing to say? That thumbnail looks awesome. Yes, absolutely. I have a question. Do you think you should have a border around your thumbnails? You can. It sometimes looks really good. It's worked for people like Toby in the group. He does a travel channel, as well as like Scott the Waz, if you're thinking about gamers. But if everyone had one, then it wouldn't be that unique. And it does eat up some pixels of space that you might want to use. So I don't know, it's an aesthetic choice. My recommendation is just try to be consistent. And again, I don't follow my own rules there because here on Vacation Impossible, I broke it today. I had a headache and I'm like, oh God. I realized last minute I forgot to put the thing on it, but I have my travel pro tip series. And so I try to put this gold banner around them, but there's a few where I've missed it. And so, like today's video. In fact, I'm going to show you how to do a thing. This series of tip videos, I number them, and I got to remember to put the new video in its proper numeric sequence. I'm still not sure that numbering them is smart. I think I'm hurting myself there. I'm not sure. Ooh, my tummy has feelings. Not sure about that 2.5 hours. Ooh, might need a bathroom break. We'll see how I go. Anyway, so that's how you can edit the sequence of a playlist. That was super easy. I really don't like the new Creator Studio, but its playlist editor is way better than the old one. I will give them that one. They get that one. Otherwise, get off my lawn. That is, which is scary. I didn't know I put it there. Oh, probably a real name. And that's the thing, is like when people set up their channel and their channel tags, they often do it very, very early in their YouTube career and then never look back. And the problem is that when it's very early in your career, you haven't gone through that learning experience yet. And so you're going to have what's going to later feel like mistakes. So I'm here to possibly point those out so you can go in and fix them and make them better. And then take over the world and remember me fondly when you're famous. Sound like a good deal? I have no idea what's there. Very strange. Must have put it ages ago. Yeah, that's channel tags. Correct. That was before I changed the banner. The Patreon needs to go. I tried it, and it's not for me yet. Yeah, the Patreon thing is a challenge. I have 2 patrons on my Patreon. I only created it because a very vocal true fan requested it, and they've been a strong supporter of it ever since. And so I never intended to have a Patreon, but I wanted to keep my audience happy. And so I was happy to create it, but I wasn't sure what it would be. And as I've been doing it for several months now, how long have I had it? Maybe even a year. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while. So, a fan of Pat Contry, in case you didn't pick up on that. If you're a fan of his, you know what I was doing just then. But it's evolved, and I've come to see it in a way that I think is unique to my perspective and personality and values. And other people might see it this way eventually too if you decide to create a Patreon. Here's why I like Patreon as a creator. It is a gated community. And now I generally don't have a positive association with the gated community, but when it comes to the internet, where there are trolls around every corner, I mean, I've had people comment on my YouTube videos that they think that my son and I should be murdered, and were very specific as to how, and it was pretty graphic. So stuff like that's not great, and so it's hard to completely ignore that you know that that's out there. And it's out there for other people to see, depending on how you handle it. And so having a safe space in something behind a paywall where you can be a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more uncertain. You can maybe discuss ideas and you're not sure what direction to go and to get feedback without it going out to such a wide audience. And so that's sort of how I have been looking at it in terms of I write blog posts that they're often a little bit more personal. And again, this is about Vacation Impossible. So if I'm having a dilemma or a problem or something, and maybe it's behind the scenes, right? So my channel is about travel. But let's say I wanted to talk about an issue I had. Like I had to issue a copyright strike against another channel. They copied one of my videos wholesale, re-uploaded it, and were using it to try and drive traffic to their travel agency. And so I was pissed, and I gleefully issued that copyright strike. I never thought I'd be on the other side of that coin, but boy, yeah. I went to the dark side gleefully on that one. They had it freaking coming. Oh, those people. But anyways, that notwithstanding, so that was something I was kind of, I'm dealing with. Makes it sound like it's a really big problem. It wasn't that hard. But it's something that I was processing emotionally and mentally and thinking about, like, is this going to come up again? Is this my future? Am I now the rights holder protecting myself? Whereas normally I was the guy that was getting content ID matches because for years I didn't have somebody writing music for me. I do now, thank God. Cam, I love you. So it was interesting, but that was something that I had thoughts about and I might want to write about. And so if I were to put that as a community post on my vacation travel channel, is people who are going there who want to see travel content care about this behind the scenes business of YouTube? I think not. But if they do really identify with what I believe, identify with my personality, want to see more of my content, if they're true fans such that they don't care if it's travel or not, then that's where the Patreon comes in for that. And so behind the paywall, I'll talk about it maybe in a more vulnerable way, like if I'm not certain or something like that, where I know that the audience is already people who like and support me to some degree. And so that's what, like, my $1 tier, you get that, and you also get behind the scenes pictures. So maybe, what was it? Here's a reference. I bet you weren't expecting this live stream. I think once upon a time, Kim Kardashian said she takes 300 pictures, selfies specifically, 300 selfies for every one picture that she actually posts to her Instagram. And so it takes her that many shots to get it perfect, is I think the message there. So what I do is I post some of my imperfect pictures. I don't take 300. I take like 3. And so maybe one will have a dirt face on it, or whatever. Maybe it'll be like, oh, I had to shave my beard because there's if an unnamed virus were to be something that I would get, I need to be able to create a seal with the mask. And so I had to shave the beard as a preventative thing. And so, like, I might, post a picture of, like, hey, here's me with the beard, here's me without the beard, something like that. So some behind-the-scenes stuff that's not specifically about my niche necessarily, although it can be. It might be like, here's a stupid picture of me on the cruise ship that's not good enough for the Instagram or whatever, that's funny, doesn't entice people or convey information. And so that's what it is. It's for, like, behind-the-scenes and the more personal stuff. That's my $1 level. And then I think I have a $3 level. And for that, it's, like, even more personal stuff. So not just about YouTube, but this could be about my life generally. And so you got to be a big fan to care about that stuff. And I had one patron at that level for several months. They recently went down to the $1 level, and that's fine. Maybe it's a financial thing. Maybe they just didn't like what I was posting. That's fair. So right now, there's nobody looking at the stuff at my $3 level. So now it's like my secret journal. So if you want to know Ray's innermost thoughts and feelings, it'll cost you $3 a month. Sounds like a weird thing to charge for, but that's not what it's about. It's about selecting and vetting your audience. That's what it is for me. And so one of the things that I also did, because I want to provide value, is I do have 2 t-shirts that I designed that are on Teespring for Vacation Impossible. So at the $1 tier, I created a discount code so that they get $1 off t-shirts. So if you were going to buy a t-shirt, you functionally get a month of the Patreon for free that way, is one way of looking at it. And then a $3 discount at the $3 level. So it's kind of like their first month is kind of free if they also happen to be buying a t-shirt. So I've only sold 1 t-shirt. But again, that was something that a fan specifically requested. And so that was my Patreon journey and where it's taken me so far. And I need to edit my tiers because it's evolved into this that I just described, but my current tiers don't necessarily reflect that accurately. And, I'm having trouble navigating their website, trying to find where you can do that. I get an error when I do the Facebook one. Okay, so maybe there's some sort of errors. You could, Team YouTube on Twitter is a good place to reach out to if you're getting errors, I find. I have a Patreon because I'm a gaming channel, and I know it's hard and a strong competition. Can't stand copiers. Dang, yeah, that was, it's rough being on the end of someone copying your work. Oh my gosh, I could talk about that at length. It's interesting. You have a Patreon because your gaming channel and it's hard and you face strong competition. So is the Patreon helping solve that? Because my general understanding is Patreon isn't where you grow an audience. It's where you provide extra value to your true fans. So, like, you don't self-promote on Patreon, really. You promote the Patreon in your other things. It's often a one-way funnel. Funnel. Always use a prop if you got it. So, your various links take them to the Patreon. The Patreon is where you make the money or you have the relationship that you want to have. But I don't think people swim up the funnel from Patreon. I don't know that the Patreon doesn't have like a discovery mechanism, really. Not a popular functional one that people like, oh, I found him on Patreon, so then I subscribe to his YouTube. That seems counterintuitive to me. Had to go for a bit, but they're back, says Achilles. Cool. Yeah, somebody copying your work. Here's another one. I had an interesting experience lately. I wrote about this on my Patreon. So someone had taken, in our Facebook group, there's something called units. And it's like a collection of posts that try to teach you a specific thing. So someone had gone and copied one of my units wholesale and put it in their competing group. Their competing sponsored group. Their competing sponsored group with affiliate links every frickin' where. And so I have a Facebook person, sort of a rep, that I deal with. And so I basically said, like, how should I respond to something like this? Because they've plagiarized my work and they're making money off of it. And so they said, oh, I'll look into it. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, just let me know, right? And admittedly, I I was like 90% angry, 10% flattered, because part of it was like, wow, they thought what I wrote was nice enough and good enough to steal. But also, screw those guys. They're making money off of my writing. Like, they even copied my jokes. That's how I spotted it. Because somebody told me to check out the group, ironically, because they said they set up their units really well, and I'm still learning how units functionality works, and so I like to see them deployed. And so I went in, like, the first thing I saw, it was like an announcement. It was like, welcome to the group. Here's something that we didn't write. Of course, they didn't say that. They took full credit as if they had written it themselves. And then they just packed it with affiliate links. And it was because I made a specific joke, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's my joke. They stole my joke. Come on, man. And honestly, if they hadn't stolen my joke or hadn't loaded it with affiliate links, I probably wouldn't have cared. But the fact that they're making money off of my jokes that they stole pisses me off in a way that I never thought I would encounter in my life. I honestly never thought that it would get to the point where I would have a joke stolen. Like, I still can't process it. So anyways, I told my Facebook rep about it, and I asked for some input. Rather than her telling me what I should do, she says, oh, I'll look at it. I'll look into it. And so then all of a sudden I noticed that group was gone. And it had something like, what was it, 40,000 people in it, and it was just gone. And so now I was like, what did I do? Like, I don't know what I wanted the outcome to be, but I didn't envision that the whole group just being gone in less than an hour was possible. And so I wrote about that on my Patreon. And like kind of processing that, like, did I do the right thing? And like, oh my God, what kind of power do these hands have now, right? But then here's the thing. The group then came back the next day, like the cat. And so what I found out was they had only been temporarily shut down for 12 hours. And so that was weird. I had reached out to one of the admins, and they were like, oh, sorry, we just forgot to give you credit. I'm like, yeah, no, you have to ask permission before you do that. You can't just copy people's work and give credit and think that that's all okay. That's plagiarism. That's not all right. Citing your sources is something, and yes, do at least that. But like, you can't just make it like, oh, it slipped my mind, when you copied something I did wholesale and you never said boo to me about doing it. So I didn't buy that defense explanation, whatever you want to call it. So anyways, so I had that conversation, but it went nowhere. They're like, oh, we'll add credit, but I'm traveling right now, so it's gonna take me a really long time before I can edit the post. And so like that definitely sounds like delaying, and I'm like, this is stupid. And so that was happening in parallel while the Facebook thing was happening with the rep. So then it came back, and I went back to the rep when it disappeared, because after an hour, I told the rep. And they said, okay, let me look into it. Then I noticed the group is gone. And about an hour later, they say, oh, hey, can you verify that it's down? Or that it was taken down? And so I said, well, the group seems to be gone. And now I know how banning works. I've banned, sadly, in my group with my mod team, we've banned over 9,000 people in our group because of sub for sub most of the time, which is frustrating. There's groups out there that wish they had 9,000 people. I've kicked that many out. That is strange for me. But anyways, so I said, well, no, because I can go incognito mode and go to the link, and it'll still show that there's a group and the potential to join if you log into Facebook, that sort of thing. That's how you know if you've been banned from a group. When you try to go there, it'll say this content's not available. But if you do incognito mode, there'll clearly be a group there that you're not in, because incognito, you won't be logged in. And so it was in neither. So I'm like, no, this wasn't a case of me being banned. This is like the group is gone. And my Facebook rep literally said, woohoo. So I was like, okay, I'm guessing that was, I didn't say this, but I was thinking, like, I guess that's what she did, and that's what she wanted to have happen. So I was like, oh, okay. That's what I think I said, just kind of trying to express my shock. I was like, thank you for helping. I was just like, now I'm worried about a backlash. I'm thinking those 40,000 people aren't going to be happy their group is gone. Although, I don't know, maybe it's a whole bunch of bots swarming around. I don't know. Definitely affiliate links bloody everywhere in that group. And they had like 24 rules. And that is too many rules for a group. One of the things I like to say about Small YouTubers Boost, the Facebook group, is we are 4 rules strong. We only have 4 rules. We started with 4. We will die with 4. We're only going to have 4 because when you have too many, people just don't read them and they don't work and they don't happen. It's over 9,000. I don't watch that show, but I get the reference somewhat. So anyways, but then the group came back. And so I went back to the Facebook contact because she had asked me to verify that it was down. And so what had happened was when the group came back, I was no longer in it. But I was not banned. So I requested to join. because Facebook asked me to verify that it was down. And so I didn't know if they meant the group or the post or my specific, like, the content they had plagiarized from me. And so I felt like I needed to give them a full answer. So I said, like, look, I need to retract my previous answer. The group that was down is now back. And so I'm waiting to be readmitted to see if they still have my content that they plagiarized up in their group as their pinned announcement post. And then they banned me. And like I said, with incognito, I know how to check. So yes, on Facebook it says content is unavailable, incognito mode, group clearly there. And so I messaged and they said, no, that's not right. That shouldn't, the group shouldn't be back. And so I was like, okay, just let me know, like, what is the outcome that you guys think is appropriate? What are you wanting me to check? Because as I'm banned from the group, I can't check if my content is in there anymore. I can't see it. There's some people I know who were in the group and they took some screenshots and they very clearly showed that, yes, my post was still there, that they stole. And they had not changed it to give any kind of credit. Not that that necessarily would solve the problem. And so I went back to my Facebook rep and I said, like, okay, here is this and here's some screenshots. And she said, let me look into it. And then that was like 3 or 4 days ago. I haven't heard anything since. And so it's a question of how much time do I want to invest? Do I really want to? Like, it's a game of whack-a-mole with this kind of thing. It does annoy me that they stole my joke and they're making money off of it. That bothers me a fair bit. But at the same time, I have to do a cost-benefit analysis for myself. How much time am I in stress and aggravation should I invest into this? When really it's so easy to copy and paste and steal things from people on the internet anyways. Like, I don't know, but part of me is also like, well, if we become numb to it, then that's going to happen everywhere all over the place. And like, that's one of the things that irritates me. Like, let's say somebody writes a really interesting tweet. Maybe it's a scathing political commentary or something that's really funny or emotionally tribute to somebody who's passed or something. And so someone out there will get a screenshot of the tweet and then share it through their page, and then that'll go viral on Facebook, and their page will get likes, and then there's potential down the road monetization opportunities. But they never link to the original tweet that they took a screenshot of. So they're getting benefit from content that all they did was screenshot. So, is that fair? And there's content curators out there of different kinds. There's George Takei, there's Unilad and other things. Unilad reaches out to people, and they're actually, I think, fairly straightforward about what they're willing to do and what ownership stuff. And people come in our Small YouTubers Boost Facebook group have been contacted by Unilad, and they posted screenshots of the offer, and it was not very compelling. It was like, we'll mention you in the first comment of the post. But otherwise, we own the content to this, and we can monetize it. We can do whatever we want with it going forward. Like, that is I think, too much. But it's interesting because also there's the whole thing of like exposure. Exposure is nice, so at least getting credit. But you can't feed your pets with exposure. So that's a difficult thing that I think we'll be grappling with for many years to come in law and in experience. And so, I don't know. Super Robot Fighting League is here. All right. Ray rules. Thank you. Robot. Oh, because Super Robot Fighting League. Yeah. So, there we go. Let's see. Does anyone... let's see. Who is next in terms of after level 1 to join us that I haven't done a recent thing for? Professor, if you're still around, did you have a request? Would you like a channel review? Would you like help getting a video unstuck? Would you like to know how to do one specific thing in YouTube? I could give you a tutorial about something, answer a question, something like that. Let me know in chat. Alt F4 Gaming is here. I did a review there recently. They actually changed their profile picture up based on my feedback, so I really hope it works well for them. I really hope I didn't lead them astray. Squishy Reviews. Cool, I made this one in time. Hope everyone is well. So Squishy Reviews, did you have a request? I had nice things to say about the guy's thumbnails. I think we're all waiting for one. So I'm guessing that's a review? Is that what you're looking for there, Squishy? Would Squishy Review like a review? Yeah, that's rough being on the end of somebody commenting on your work, or copying your work. It's messed up. 9,000. I've not done that at all. What is this? Oh, changed your description. I would not mind a channel review if there's time. There is time. Let's do it. How was the white spot? It was pretty good. My Caesar salad was a little dry to begin with, but then like I guess all the dressing was at the bottom, so then it ended really strong. And then my burger started a little dry, but again ended strong. There was almost too much sauce. Got a lot of refills. I was waiting for the car oil change and car repairs and stuff, so there's a white spot right next door. And so they let us camp there for a good 90 minutes, which was nice. So yeah, no, white spot was nice. Mini review of White Spot. In case you're wondering, I did a review and mukbang of White Spot Restaurants, which is a chain here in British Columbia, Canada. And that's on Vacation Impossible. You can check it out. So we're definitely having some issue here because Squishy Reviews is... we're getting a lot of results here, and none of them is that the channel name. So I guess there are things that are squishy that people review, and so it's a bit of a generic term. So there's some challenge that's there. And look at the view counts of this stuff. 2.4 million views. Wow. 1.1 million views. She's a little cute, I guess it doesn't hurt. 2.1 million views. 9.2 million views. Wow. 1.1 million views. This is... There's a kid. There's a kid too. 37,000 views. Wow, this is a really competitive thing. This is problematic. I'm surprised TubeBuddy's giving it a fair score, but I guess the volumes are high enough to offset the competition. Let's filter by channels. Now you got an autocorrect problem. Showing results for, search instead for... Yeah, let's search instead for what I actually searched for. There you are, SR. That's what you are in chat. Okay. Yeah, that's a little tricky. Okay. So you've got a nice logo there. It's like a semi-corporate logo, which is pretty good. It doesn't communicate information, but it's a nice, clean, crisp, recognizable image. It's easy to find. And again, in profile pictures, with such little space, it's hard to do much more than that. So that's pretty good. If there was some way in that small space to convey what you do specifically, that would be good, but it's very hard to pull that off. Let's see here. You got 107 subscribers. I have to ask, have you already claimed your custom URL? If not, I do suggest doing so. 30 videos. So you're probably going to guess what I'm going to say here because you've been watching a lot of this live stream with your channel description. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel called... Lose all of that. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, followed by 3 exclamation points. I'm going to put up. Okay, well, the good news is that there's a big opportunity here because there's a lot of opportunity to make this a little bit better. Do keep squishy reviews in there, especially because it's so competitive in an SEO term. Let's do what we can to get you on that. But you're not telling people what you do here. You're saying hi, you're welcoming them, and you're asking them to subscribe, but they don't know anything about it. So just say, Squishy Reviews, your home for, and then put in what you do in very succinct, few words as possible. You can have the request for the subscribe, but I say push it lower in the description. Don't have it come up this early. And it says here, I'm going to put up. You're talking about something in the future in the description. I would probably remove whatever that is. Just say your name and pivot immediately to what your content is about and try to entice people to click. That's what I think you should do at the very beginning of your channel description. That will help. Let's dive into the channel here. So, I mean, this is obviously a younger channel. So there's some good things going on here. And there's some great opportunities as well. So first off, your banner. The banner is... I might surprise people because I often say very similar things about banners. I like this banner. I do. I like the design. It is a clean, crisp, minimalist image. I like how the eye is over top and there's like this drop shadow, haze, glow, outline, stroke, whatever you want to call it, around the dot on the eye. I like that. That is nice design. You're probably expecting me to say shrink it down so it doesn't get cut off, but I kind of like the aesthetic it's achieving by being cut off. It is still nicely legible. So I kind of like it. The one place where it falls down is I still don't know what your channel is about. It doesn't convey information. It's very nice branding, not very good communication. So you might want to consider doing something to it to convey information, but then you might lose that nice white space of the minimalist design aesthetic. So, I'm kind of on the fence. I like it, but, so I'm not sure. Those are just my reactions and thoughts. You don't have any social links set up. So if you are on any other social media platforms for your channel, then I highly recommend you link them in. You go to the About page and click Customize, as I showed earlier. And so if you do have a Twitter account or a LinkedIn company page or a Facebook page, not your personal one, but a page for the channel, an Instagram for the channel, whatever you might have, consider linking it there. And if you don't, I do recommend signing up for some. At the very least, go and get the username. Go upload your profile picture and your banner picture there so you look consistent and have a presence. One of the reasons for this is because of the potential for imposters. This has been a pretty annoying problem with small YouTubers Boost. Here's a story about a man named Ray. This happens every now and then, at least monthly, probably every fortnight. Somebody will message me in Facebook Messenger. Man, you got to ban this person from your group. They're saying these horrible things. Now, depending on the example, it'll be sub for sub, or sexism, or racism, or bullying, or some other dang thing. They're trying to, sell things that are against the terms of service, probably. And then they'll send me like a screenshot. And the screenshot will just be like the person's profile, their name, and the bad thing they said. And I'll look at it, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty bad. I wouldn't mind looking at the context, though. So I'll go looking for it in my group, and I'll search, and I can't find the post. And I'll be like, well, that's weird. Okay, well, it's pretty bad. Maybe I should discipline the person. So I'll go and look up the person. And I'll search, and I won't be able to find them. And so I'll go back to the person who messaged me, and I'll say, hey, can you give me a link to the post, or can you tell me more about it? You've basically given me a mystery to solve. I'm on a snipe hunt over here. Could you make it a little easier? In the Facebook group, I do prefer people use the report function, because then any of the moderator team can easily go and find the thing and make a determination. If it's a screenshot that doesn't have the whole stuff, even if it does have everything, now I got to go on a fetch quest to go find it and then deal with it, assuming it's even there. So I would go back to the person and say, hey, can you tell me a little bit more? Give me a screenshot that shows the full post, or can you link me to it or report it in the group? And so invariably, I'll get a larger screenshot, and it'll show the group name, and it won't be my group. It'll be someone who's scamming on my group name. I won't tell you exactly how, but they might have a number at the end of the group name, or they might have put an additional word in there somewhere. And so people think that it's mine, and so it damages my reputation, and it wastes my time, because people come to me to complain about things going on in groups that I'm not even in, much less moderating or administrating. And so that, for me, is the problem with imposters. But of course, you can well imagine the problem with imposters on a higher scale. So a classic example that I like to give is, let's say some famous person tweets about you, okay? Let's say Adam Levine that's Maroon 5, right? Let's say that he stumbles across your channel and loves it and tweets about it. And his millions of fans are like, well, I'm going to check this thing out. And this all happens while you're on, I would say, a plane somewhere. I mean, that's not a good example these days with a certain unnamed virus kicking around. So let's say it's happening while you're asleep. Let's say that, he's on one coast, you're on another coast, you're sleeping in. And so over the period of several hours, your channel blows up. And you wake up to the dream. You wake up to the dream. You end one dream and begin the real one. You check your phone and you've got all these notifications about new subscribers and comments on your videos. And you check your channel and suddenly you have 10 times the subscribers that you had before, 100 times, 1,000 times. You're getting tons of views. You've met the monetization threshold. I got to submit that for review. I got to get in there. This is amazing. But then you want to try to understand better. You start looking into it, and suddenly you might notice, wait a minute, someone who's not me has created a Twitter account with my channel name, and they're driving traffic to their channel. Someone's created an Instagram, and they've got 10,000 followers now, but that's not me, but that's my name. So let's prevent that. little blemish that could happen on the dream. Let's not have the dream turn into a nightmare that way. So even if all you do is just get the username and just upload your graphics so that it's clearly you, and then do maybe a little cross-linking, because also you never know where you'll blow up, right? So let's say, let's say that example. Let's say Neil Tennant from Pet Shop Boys, for whatever reason, wants to tweet about you. And tons and tons of followers, and they go to @you. They put the @ symbol and reference to you on Twitter, because maybe they're like, I just saw the most amazing review. You've got to check this out. And then they go to @you, and you're just not there. Okay, well, I guess I'll mention the name, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I won't bother. Or maybe I'll just mention the name and that's it. Okay, fine. If they had linked you, that could have driven traffic, right? Consider, if you will, the funnel. Here in the funnel, at the very bottom, you have your primary focus. This is where you want your audience to land. If you care about YouTube videos and don't really care about Twitter that much, or maybe you want to be Instagram famous, but YouTube is just to support your Instagram modeling career, or you want people to go to your Patreon so you can make some cash off monthly subscription things, and that's where you want people to land. What is your primary focus? Where do you want them to land more than anything else? I think for the vast majority of us, it's going to be YouTube. So for the purposes of argument, let's say you just want lots of subscribers and views, and maybe monetized views on your channel, okay? So that's the ultimate goal. You should only have like 1 or 2 things down here. So then the top of the funnel, along the ring of the funnel, is all of your other social media endeavors. And it's not just that. It could be promotional materials that you might create. It could be, let's see here. It could be the fact that maybe you give out a business card. Maybe you've got a couple styles of business cards that you might use. A couple things that I have here on my top of my funnel. Well, actually, here I showed you earlier. I showed you my Microsoft Surface Pro. I've got a sticker here advertising my channel on that. I've got... Let's see here. I've got more of those stickers, so hey Achilles, if you want a sticker, let me know. Put it on your luggage or something. Not that anybody's traveling these days. Bumper stickers. I put this on my luggage. What do you see there? The URL for my YouTube. You don't see a grab bag of everything. I don't mention Twitter, Instagram, my Patreon, nothing. It's all about YouTube. I have my magnets. There's a couple back there, 2 different designs. This is the older style. Again, YouTube channel, right? So all of those things, whether it's social media accounts, conversations you have with friends, family, strangers, whatever, collabs you do with other YouTubers, all those different things, it's an entry point into your world. The funnel is your world. And so you are driving people down to your primary focal point. So having more things up here, and the stuff up here you might not invest as much into, and that is okay. But it's still a good growth strategy, and to protect your brand long term, especially with a competitive brand name, to get out there and get the best possible usernames that you can, just to lock down and stake your claim, grab that territory. It's like Monopoly. Your first time around the board, you buy freaking everything, right? For the most part. Depending on your cash flow, well, this costs you virtually nothing. So go on there and create that Snapchat. I've had Snapchat for years. I don't know what the hell I'm doing on it. I barely use it, but I've got my username locked down so that it's going to be much harder if somebody else comes along and wants to crib on my success. Their account creation date is going to be newer than mine, so I'm going to be on the platform for longer. More so, let's say that you want to get verified on Instagram or on Twitter or some other platform that is not YouTube. YouTube verification is getting to be about subscriber count, because that's kind of their answer for a lot of things. It's like their one-stop solution. It's like, oh, we've got a problem. Well, we'll require subscribers, and then that'll fix it. A little salty. But anyways, on other platforms, they take a more of a holistic approach where they look at your presence on other social media platforms. They go and they look at their competitors. And so Twitter will go and look if you have a Facebook page. They'll go at LinkedIn to see if there's a company page. They'll go to these other places, and they will see, are you doing consistent content across them? Do you have a consistent look? Is it the same profile picture? Is it the same or similar banner? And then the more of that there is, and is it cross-linking? Are you linking back to Twitter? Is Twitter linking back to YouTube? The more of those interrelationships and interconnections and backlinks, as they're sometimes known as on the web, those create increased confidence in the person, because it's generally a person who's looking and saying, do I give this person that all-important check mark that can make a huge difference in your credibility and authenticity? And now we're talking like you are officially the representative of that brand. So and so they look for that, and when they see that, you're more likely to get verified. And then, yeah, you get the check mark, more authenticity, and then that can drive people into wherever the bottom of your funnel is. So even if you don't care about Twitter that much, and maybe all you do is tweet every time you put out a new video, you can do it in just 2 clicks in YouTube. After you upload, click the Twitter icon, click tweet, and now it's out there. And you never know who might stumble across it. A lot of what we do with YouTube, it's kind of like we're constantly playing the lottery. The good news is that those tickets that we get, we buy with our time, not generally with money, and they're constantly calling numbers, and your ticket could come up at any time. You never know. So, have it out there, and have it as a potential sort of infection vector, which is maybe not the best metaphor to use these days, but I think you get the idea. And then maybe you blow up on Twitter for whatever reason, and then that can drive people to where you really want them to be, even if you don't give 2 shakes about Twitter. So protect your brand and have that funnel function happening is my advice. So that's that. Your channel layout here is sparse. You've got uploads, which is fine. At the very least, come here, click Customize Channel, click Add Section at the bottom, and add Popular Videos as a single playlist row. And what that will do is it will show 5 to 6 of your videos, depending on the resolution and the layout of your channel. It will show your most popular videos. And if one video becomes more popular than another, it will automatically update. You set it one time and leave it forever. And it's good because if someone comes to your channel and they're trying to make a conscious subscription decision, not everybody does that, but some do, they can immediately go and see, okay, what are they known for? What are they most successful at? It might not be what you love the most or you're best at, but it's what has gotten the views. And so then they could maybe go watch that and be like, wow, I see why everyone's watching that one. Now I'm subscribed. That kind of thing. That's how I got into Pat Contri. I watched him do a collab with Angry Video Game Nerd, checked out a couple random videos on his channel, went straight down to the popular ones, watched the first couple, and said, I got to subscribe to this guy. So let people have that experience. I would also recommend turning on the recommended channel module that you can activate here. You can recommend people to channels you collab with, channels you look up to and enjoy yourself, or perhaps the official corporate channels for things that you make content creating. So I see here you've got some Disney and Marvel content. So there's probably an official Disney and an official Marvel channel. You could use that. That shows people that you support other creators, even if they're corporate entities, and it gives information to the algorithm because it says that, okay, these channels might have something in common, and if that aligns with what I'm seeing, it will increase my confidence that I know what the channel is about. Increased confidence in the algorithm means better search results and recommended, so that can drive traffic as well. Let's go take a look at the playlists. So you got a couple things here. This is weird. Maleficent 2 reviews. Did you do 7 reviews of one movie? Or is this a playlist that I gotta know. Is this other people's content? There's nothing wrong with that. Black Nerd Comedy. Andre Meadows? Okay, well, you're driving some, you might be driving some traffic to Andre Meadows. Good for you. He's a cool guy. He supports some charities. He's funny. I like him. Okay. That's an interesting question. Let me ask this. Are you primarily content creation or content curation? Creation means you make it yourself. Curation means that you go out and you search all over and you find the creme de la creme and people come to you so that they don't have to do that searching. And maybe they have similar tastes. George Takei is a content curator in that sense. Are you trying to be both? Do you think that it's very effective to be both? Just some things I want you to think about and then have some intentionality behind it. See, now you got to be a little bit more careful here, Disney. Okay, this is all you. All right, so Disney's good. Let's find maybe 1 or 2 more reactions. Is this all you? Deleted video. Curious. I would remove that video from your playlist. It doesn't look good when you've got something like that. But there are other channel videos here, so not that one. Countdown too few. Funny interviews too few. Okay, so let's just take Disney. What I think you should do here on your home page is also, again, customize channel, add section, single playlist row, and add that Disney playlist here. Put it between uploads and popular uploads. so that you're hopefully not having too much duplication immediately, and then you'll have 3 times as many of your videos on your home screen that somebody could click on and watch. Those are potential views, potential watch time, could lead to subscriptions and other interactions, comments, thumbs up, thumbs down, things like that. That's the thing that I recommend you do. I do think this channel is suffering a little bit from not being immediately transparent to a lazy audience, and most audiences are, to explain what you're about. So a channel trailer is a good idea. Might be a little early for that. You might want to wait until you have a bit more content, but it's up to you. I would suggest sitting down with notepad or a physical pad and paper and just quickly, like a stream of consciousness thing, write down the 5 or 6 coolest things you've ever had on your channel. Do it right now if you want. Hell, post it in chat if you like. Then take that and use that as the basis to form a channel trailer. Find short little clips of those 5 or 6 moments, put it together. You can use either the original audio, swap it out for some music that you have the rights to or is royalty free, or do a voiceover, which I recommend, explaining what your channel is about. I've got so many props these days that it's harder to keep them managed for space. So, why do you make YouTube? Why do you invest the time? You're sitting here watching me. Hopefully I'm entertaining and educational, but you're investing time in yourself. You're making an investment in yourself right now. Kudos for doing that. You could be playing video games right now. You could be watching Marvel movies for the 8th time. I don't know, depending on how many times you've seen them. You could be doing something else, but you're here with us investing time in yourself. Why? Why are you investing this? This is a book by Simon Sinek. I have it linked down below as an affiliate link. I recommend you check out. He's got a TED Talk. It's like the 2nd most watched one in history about the Golden Circle. He talks a lot about knowing your why. If you know why you are doing something, then it makes it easier for you to know what direction to take when you have multiple choices. And it also, if it's about values, then it's something that your audience can connect to, and this can lead you to having true fans that will watch everything you put out and buy everything you sell. And that's amazing when that happens. And that happens oftentimes. Maybe they just find you attractive. Maybe they like your voice. If you do, check out the Vacation Impossible podcast on your podcast platform of choice. Got to get the plug in. But a lot of people become true fans because they believe in the same things you believe. And that reaches and touches them in a primal way that connects them as a really, like, you want to talk loyal followers, this is how you make it happen, is this sort of thing. So I highly recommend that. So if you can articulate your why should be what you're trying to accomplish. I want people to broaden their experiences. And then you get the how. I do that by showing them how they can travel cheaply and have fun and how easy and safe it can be. And so the what, I have a YouTube channel, I have a podcast, I have, a blog, whatever. That's, if you can get those 3 layers and start at the beginning and just kind of talk about the why and maybe the how a little bit, maybe the what. But if you can get those 3 notes into a voiceover for a channel review, for channel trailer, that's how you do it, I think, well. And so I've done that. Not on this channel yet. I'm working on it and still refining things. But on Vacation Impossible, we have a channel trailer. It's driven a lot of subscriptions. We got a lot of positive feedback on it. And so feel free to take a look at that, and maybe that can inspire you for your future channel trailer, even if you're not at all about travel, just from some technical and stylistic choices. Gonna check out Channelytics. Squishy reviews, movie reviews, spoiler reviews, trailer reactions, top 15, top 3. That's interesting. I haven't seen evidence of top lists, so that doesn't feel accurate. But maybe I just haven't seen it. Disney non-spoiler review, spoiler review, non-spoiler review. Yeah, non-spoiler review appears twice. Oh, one's plural, one's not. Never mind. That's good SEO. That's good SEO. The Crosbys. Maybe is that your last name? Maybe beyond the trailer. Okay. So that's not bad. I question the top 3 and top 15 because I'm not seeing, like, if I were to go look at your videos, this is where I would go to see a whole bunch. You celebrated getting 50 subscribers. Funny MCU interviews. I don't know how you would have the rights to that. That could be a copyright issue. I didn't poop, I peed. Okay, there's a top 3 here. Top 3 songs, top 3 best videos. Okay, so you do have top 3s. Not seeing a top 15. So I would remove the top 15 and do keyword research on some of these and see if maybe some longer tail keywords with more words might be good. Like Disney movie reviews, because you've got movie reviews and Disney reviews, but maybe Disney movie reviews might do a little bit better than, like just the word Disney, super competitive. Go for something with a little less competition, you might be able to gain a bit more traction. Looking at your views, you've had some growth happening here since about February 18th. It's petered out a little bit, but it's still relatively strong. That's interesting. How's the subscriber growth? Subscriber growth is pretty consistent. That's pretty good. Let's check here. It's interesting. So you had a video come out on the 16th, the 23rd, and the 2nd. So those are your last 3 videos. 1, 2, 3. So the one on the 16th is probably Disney Songs Reversed Ultimate Challenge. That's a cool... not a lot of views on that. Maybe it's this Laurel and Hardy Kids reaction. You might be able to do that because that's probably in the public domain now. So that, I think, is possibly... Let's also look at your videos. I think we've identified your strength. Most popular... No, you've had some other stuff that's done better. Oh, there we go. Top 15 Disney songs 2020 by Squishy Reviews. That's a little problematic. I don't know if you want to monetize this or not. You've got kids in it, which is problematic, and you've got Disney stuff, which, copyright, watch out. So that's a little tricky. Funny baby puts a sock in dad's mouth. Try not to laugh. See, that's probably something you have the rights to, assuming that's your kids. Then that's the thing that happened. So that's actually more your bread and butter right there. It's a shorter video. I'm not sure what this all is saying. I do like the idea of doing a kids react to older comedy things that are in the public domain. There's certain Three Stooges shorts where the copyright expired. Nobody owns the copyright to It's a Wonderful Life. So kids react to things like that you could do without copyright concerns, and I think it would potentially drive views and subscribers. I think that's one of the safer bets. And I would suggest getting away from the things that you don't have the rights to. I rather imagine these interviews are things that you got from a source that you don't have the rights to. So that could be an issue. About page. Yeah, see, there's a lot going on there. Okay, so you do have a Facebook page. So instead of putting that in your description, which is unclickable text, come here to the About, click Customize Channel, and add it as a link down below, as I showed earlier. And then that will appear in your banner, and people will actually be able to click it from here and from the banner. I suggest having an email address here that people can reach out to you in case they maybe want to send you something to review. Or reach out for a collab or something. And if you do it properly here in the settings, it will be masked so that spam bots can't pick it up easily. So you should have a decent signal to noise where most of the content that you'll get will be either manual spam or legitimate contacts. And so give people a professional way to reach out to you for a potential future success. And I think talking about the why do you want to do this? I would take out the future tense of I'm going to, and just say we put up things like movies and songs and et cetera, et cetera. It's interesting. I didn't see places coming up much. As much as possible, if you can identify a single niche that you focus on, that's better. Oh, here we go. Cornwall travel. 133 views. It's not a lot. I think you're trying to be too many things at once, and the algo is going to struggle to understand what you're about. So given that I think you only have one video with less than 200 views about destinations and travel, I would suggest not chasing that and focus more on the songs and movie reviews. I think that is, and even the songs is problematic. I really think that if you do, things in the public domain, old-time shorts and comedies, that's probably safe. But it's tricky. Variety channels really struggle. So there we go there. Let's see. Feeling a little tired. How's chat doing? Go Dogsful1. Right, you contacted me on Facebook and you wanted me to review 3 channels, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot. So we're getting towards the end of this particular broadcast. If somebody wants like one of these really in-depth consultations or channel reviews, let's connect somewhere. But it's in order for me to be able to prioritize that, we'll probably have to negotiate some sort of exchange for that. Just because, for one thing, if I were to do that for free, it's all I would ever do, and I don't have the available time. Um, Damien Muruth? Muruth. I guess that's what that is. Yeah, I'm kind of wrapping up here. Sorry, just getting a little tired. My tummy's a little rumbly, so I think I'm probably going to be wrapping this one up. But I do encourage people to, yeah, if you want a specific review, and you're not willing to because coming to the live stream is a bit of a gamble. This is me volunteering my time. I go chronologically in chat. The first person in is the first person I do a review for or tutorial, etc., etc. If you want a one-off where you don't gamble like that, maybe we can work something out. It sounds like $10 for a channel review is reasonable. It's what somebody else was charging through their Patreon. Maybe we can work something out for that. I think that's reasonable. I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Otherwise, if you want the free channel review, join us in a future live stream. I'm not sure when the next one will be, so subscribe with notifications turned on so that you can be early in chat so that we can get to your free channel review and consultation. But with that in mind, I think I'll probably be wrapping things up here for today. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel also, because I do plan on having a video come out tomorrow all about how you stay motivated as a content creator. And so I think that'll be really helpful for people. It's part of my strategy and how I keep putting out content consistently across 2 channels and, drag my butt out of bed every day to do stuff. And so hopefully that'll be helpful. We got a lot of other good stuff coming up. If you don't have TubeBuddy, that'll help you more than a channel review as far as I'm concerned. So make sure that you click the link down below to get TubeBuddy. Even the free version is freaking amazing. It's got 32 free tools. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. If you decide to get a paid version, go join the Small YouTubers Boost Facebook group and check the announcement section. We got a discount code that'll save you 20% just for being a member of the group, which is itself totally free. So thank you so much for that. Feel free to check out my channel, Vacation Impossible. It could use the support these days with all of the challenges to the travel industry that's going on. But thank you so much for joining us. And I always try to end with an action item for everybody to go and do post-stream. Let me just quickly check chat. Thanks, Ray. That's very useful. Really appreciate it. Great info. Thanks, guys. What else do we have here? Also, stay safe out there, everyone. Or stay safe at home, maybe. If you don't have to be out there, then just stay safe at home. That would be good, too. Home is a wonderful place. I have so many video games. I've actually been playing a little bit of PS4 this weekend. So that's actually been kind of exciting. Don't touch anyone. Touch someone with your why, not your hands. Touch them emotionally in a positive way. Inspire people. Go out there and inspire people. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's make that the challenge. PS4 rules. I'm a Nintendo guy, but I got a PS4 on Boxing Day, and so I was playing Shadows of Colossus. And I beat the first 5 Colossuses, and it's funny because I keep feeling like I'm not gonna make this jump ever. I should just stop playing and then I'll make it. And so I'm playing it on easy though, because I don't have a whole lot of time for gaming, so I got to do easy mode. Unless it's something I'm familiar with, some retro stuff. I might just get back to Hyrule Warriors on the Switch. I've been enjoying that. Anyways, so your challenge, if you choose to accept your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to write down your why. Open up Notepad, get a physical piece of paper. I want you to write why you do YouTube, how you do YouTube, and what specifically do you create. It should be 1 sentence for each. And then once you've done that, I want you to think about your channel description. I want to think about your channel trailer, whether you have one or not, and think, should this be incorporated into that? Have I expressed it well? Is it time for maybe an update of either of those things, or time to create that channel trailer? Hopefully that will be useful for you, something you can do on this Saturday. More beard. Yeah, you know what? You cure that unnamed virus and the beard will come back. But in the meantime, for reasons that I can't fully get into, I have to keep it to just the trim goatee. On the off chance that I happen to get it, I need to be able to wear a mask and create a proper seal. So unfortunately, I can't more beard right now. Thank you for this homework. Hey, it's totally optional. Remember, it's if you choose to accept it. Oh man, I hate it when I'm on like Facebook or Twitter and somebody ats me and there's like a 5,000 word article and they're like, "Hey man, what do you think about this?" And I'm like, "Oh God, I have homework. I am nearly 40. Don't give me homework." Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's great. More times than not, it's not. But every now and then, I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm learning something and it's fascinating." But every now and then, it's just like, "Wow, this was depressing trash. I don't want any piece of this." So hopefully, just scraping more beard ain't gonna fix it. You got to go get yourself a medical degree, become a virologist, and then we can talk. I read some stuff today and was very disappointed. There's a lot of negative news out there in the world. Yeah, okay. I'm not using those words because I've been told not to. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a natural comparison because, I mean, that's the thing is when something's unprecedented or hasn't happened in a long time, we go for the nearest analog we can find. I don't blame them. What's this reading you speak of? Well, if you're going to become a virologist or a epidemiologist or whatever, then you're going to have to do a lot of reading. So I think we might just have to live without more beard for a little while. Hopefully this thing gets itself sorted. And it was so irrelevant. That I believe. And with stuff going on, like, YouTube, for knowing how to do YouTube, we don't know the algorithm. They don't make it public. It is their secret sauce. It's in a vault. It's a self-learning algorithm. It changes and rewrites its own code. So the people who wrote it probably don't even know what the hell it's doing anymore. And so this is a place where people can just talk about their experiences and things that they've read. They put out a white paper every now and then, and I try to read that or watch a video of somebody who's smarter than me. And so in YouTube, we're taking our best guess, and we're trying to do all the little things that might give us a micro boost. But when it comes to what's going on in the real world, there are reliable sources of information, and I highly recommend that you confirm things with reliable sources of information rather than just taking, what happens to be trending on Twitter or what you happen to see on Facebook at complete face value. There are reliable, governmental resources out there, and so when in doubt, Snopes it if you can, that kind of stuff, because it's not like an algorithm. It's not a big fat secret. It's out there because they want people to know so that people can help keep it from getting worse. So, there's that. My thoughts on just kind of, take a breath away from people, but take a calming breath and don't let it get to you. And again, if you want something to take your mind off of it, the Vacation Impossible podcast doesn't talk about it at all. So there you go. It was a Skynet. I'm the smartest AI. YouTube algorithm. Hold my beer. Yeah, it's almost like Skynet's like, I'm going to control you with death machines. And YouTube's like, I'm just going to control what you think about politics. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all of you. I hope to do it again soon, but I can't say when, so have those notifications on. We'll see you in the Facebook group, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great Saturday evening. Thanks so much for tuning in. This live stream will self-destruct in 5 seconds.